Hello, everyone. This is Pastor Greg. As always, Dr. Marks. Old Testament prophecy and the resurrection. This is another big deal, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's so much support for the subject that we're talking about with the resurrection.
There is indeed.
It's not even just the proofs of the resurrection. It's not only all the miracles that Jesus did and people believed him because of the things he was able to accomplish and do, but you also have a fact that he had no control. As an earthly human being, he had no control over things that were written about him previously. Mm-hmm. No control. Mm-mm. End of story. But that is something that we see throughout the Old Testament. Prior to the life of Jesus Christ here on earth, right? You see all throughout Scripture that the Bible was, at the Old Testament, was speaking about this Messiah, this Christ who was to come and be God's representative, right? Mm-hmm. And so the Jews were waiting for what they interpreted those prophecies to be fulfilled, what they were expecting them to look like, right? Mm-hmm. And when Jesus came, they hardened their hearts and they didn't believe his testimony. Mm-hmm. But let's talk a little bit about some of the Old Testament prophecies. Sure. Let's start off with Isaiah 53.
Okay.
So the book of Isaiah was written several hundred years before Jesus existed.
730 some years before Jesus existed. And we can demonstrate that. And that's an important thing to say out of the gate. Because some people will say, that was added into the Old Testament to make it look like Jesus. No, we can prove from the Septuagint that at a minimum, the Septuagint is about 250 years before Jesus was born. We can see it from the Dead Sea Scrolls. We can see it from quotes in other ancient manuscripts that are quoting the Bible. Long list of evidences to prove that these were written hundreds, even thousands of years before Jesus was born. The many hundreds of prophecies that were fulfilled in his lifetime.
Absolutely. And for those of you that are not familiar with the Septuagint, it was a translation.
Yeah, I'm
right?
sorry to mention.
So the Septuagint was a publicly declarated translation of some of the Old Testament scriptures.
The Hebrew into Greek. Yeah.
Exactly. And so the prophet Isaiah's book was in there as well. His writings and prophecies were included in that translation that nobody argued about at the time of the Septuagint.
No.
Right?
Did not. No. And again, you can look at, when we talk about biblical accuracy, the Old Testament, the New Testament, these documents are the single most historically accurate documents ever written in any language, and you can prove it. The Dead Sea Scrolls, I mean, we could do a whole video on just that alone. But when you look at, you were mentioning Isaiah chapter 53, that very specifically talks about the way the Messiah was going to die. And this was written hundreds of years before crucifixion was invented. Absolutely. And that's a very important concept right there.
Because the description in Isaiah 53, I mean, you read this now, if you have a Bible or pull it up online, BibleGateway.com, or just pull up a Bible online and read Isaiah chapter 53. It is like you are reading a documentary about Jesus.
Exactly correct.
To the T. Yeah. And so we see this fulfillment.